بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Brothers and sisters, we begin in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Indeed, all praises belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to send His peace and blessings upon our noble messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Last night was the 15th of Sha'ban. That was also an interesting observation that some observe that Nisf Sha'ban as considered to be one of the important nights to spend time in worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm going to ask you to indulge with me a little bit. I just came back last Thursday for Umrah, so I'm still having a little bit of a cold and a cough, so just bear with me, inshallah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to present a few slides, and I'll share with you the agenda associated with that. Let's see. Where are we here? Okay, so what I will do is very quickly go through the Hajj background, because there are always a few folks that are in for the first time or the second time and they're not quite familiar, because we're getting pre-registrations even now. And then go through a little bit about the portal, one slide, our Saudi Hajj partners and what is exactly our role in it. And then I'll go through in detail about the packages, and I mean in detail as much as I can. And then we'll open up to Q&A. So it'll be a good idea if you can hold off on your questions until such time that we're able to, hold on a second, able to get to the end, because I think most of the questions will be answered in the course of the presentation. So background is very simple. You already know Hajj services can only be provided by authorized Saudi Hajj companies, and that includes flights, accommodation, transportation, catering, mashayar, even the issuance of the Hajj visa. The consulate here in Ottawa or in Washington or any other capital have nothing to do with it, issuing the visas. It applies to pilgrims in non-Muslim countries, Americas, Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. And all of the services are to be acquired through the Saudi Nusuk Hajj portal. And all of this also means that the quota that we used to have pre-COVID has been reduced significantly. And there are now 10 Saudi companies that are authorized by the Ministry of Hajj to provide the Hajj services. What that means is that travel agencies can no longer independently develop Hajj packages, cannot sell or conduct financial transactions for Hajj packages, but they can partner with one or more of the authorized Saudi companies to offer their Hajj packages only through the Nusuk portal. So our role has been reduced to an agency can work as a guide with an authorized Saudi Hajj company in a supporting and advisory role. And this part is what I'm going to expand on later on, inshallah. Nusuk is an online portal. It's an official gateway for pilgrims worldwide. It enables the pilgrims to purchase packages and services, and it issues the Hajj visa. So basically, if you're intending to go for Hajj, the first thing you have to do is register yourself and have that registration approved in Nusuk. And then, of course, there is something now called e-wallet. You have to put some credit in it. So you have to have a combination of a verified profile and sufficient credit in your e-wallet before you can go and book. Dar es Salaam, as a travel agent, has partnered with 3 of the Hajj companies: Al Burj International, Sira Mawasim Group, and Abdul Latif Jamil. Because we've worked with Al Burj before, and we've worked with some of them before. We know that they share some of the same values, which is our value in terms of passion for excellence and services to the pilgrims. We're trying to see if, as Dar es Salaam, can we influence them in creating packages like Dar es Salaam used to provide services that Dar es Salaam is known for providing services. Basically, our collective 35 years of experience, can we guide them? Can we advise them? And that will be our role. We don't have the financials, because the money is being sent directly by you into Nusuk, and they're going to be spending it, but we're working with them and having them create packages as Dar es Salaam used to create, and that's what exactly you will see some of those packages. I can even call them the Dar es Salaam names that it used to be. before it became known under the Hajj service provider's name. So they're creating similar packages and same camps and same services, hopefully. So we're basically trying to influence them to create same level of experience, even though we don't have actual control over the spending and setting things up. But we're going to be on the ground with them, inshallah, as we're going to be on the ground with you. Package will be posted on Nusuk, and it'll be sold on a first come first book basis. We will have no influence if people come to us, and I get calls almost every day. Can you help me get in and buy a package? I'll have absolutely no influence over it. And basically, you'll have to see the package and look at the package, agree to what you want to buy. And when the time comes, when they turn the taps on for sales, you have to go in and get it. And you'll be competing with everybody else to get it on a first come first book basis. Our role then becomes that of advice to you, available Hajj packages. Just like our role with the Hajj service provider is to create packages that provide the best experience for people coming from the Western countries for Hajj. And we're going to then provide guidance in booking the packages of choice in Nusuk. Brother Ahmed has done a wonderful job in all these webinars, walking you through Nusuk portal, what works, what doesn't work, what the screen looks like. That process will continue when it comes to packages that's going to be put on, how to go about configure the package, how do you go about look for the airlines. He will still continue to do that. In the meantime, what we're going to do is provide you the religious and administrative webinars to prepare you for this travel. We have a two-part strategy that we've always used. Number one is the religious aspect, the manasik of Hajj, the fiqh of Hajj. But equally important is the logistical aspects of Hajj, the administrative aspect of Hajj. We want to be on this same two track, and I want that support and guidance continue in those same two track while you're at Hajj. So we'll start here prior to the travel. We will accompany you and be with you throughout. Again, continue to do both. And of course, we will liaise with the Saudi companies to ensure that the arrivals, departures, hotel check-in, check-out, and transportation, and so forth, and the services in the camps during Hajj Mina, Arafat, and Muzdalifah. Again, trying to see how we can influence them to provide the same level of services that we used to provide, even though they are the ones who are going to actually execute. They have the authority and the mandate to do so by the Ministry of Hajj. So you can see the role here. We're in a supporting role. We're in an advisory role. Yet we're trying to see if we can influence it to create the same experience at people who have trusted that Islam for decades have had in the past. Let's hope it works. Talk about Hajj packages. Given that Islam has a certain standard for packages, I want to share with you all of the packages you will see, hotels that are going to be shown. Number one, you will see in this Google map, we're going to be using Medina Move and Pick. I mean, this is a very close, it's few steps away into the entrance to the courtyard of Masjid al-Nabawi, very close to gate 16, which is the women's entrance. And then Medina Hilton, another hotel fairly close. And you can come in through gate 20 and you can have access to both the men's side. And of course, we have Crown Plaza on the other side of the Haram. We also have that in the Anjum package, Jameel package, Abdul Latif Jameel package. So these are the three hotels, and all of the packages you will see, they're going to be used. Number two, in Mecca, you will see that we're going to use exclusively the clock tower for most of the packages. The Fairmont Hotel, which is the premium hotel there, the Swiss Hotel, and there is a Swiss Maqam. There's two Swiss towers. One is Swiss Hotel Mecca, one is Swiss Maqam. They're all part of the clock tower complex. We also have the Anjum Hotel that also be used with Abdul Latif Jameel. So these are the hotels in all the packages. You can see the proximity to the Haram. It's important to understand that we've always had this proximity to the Haram. It will be fairly hot. It'll be summer time. It'll be fairly hot. So when we have hotels, we also have two meals in the hotel. We have open buffet breakfast. We have open buffet dinner. So you're not going out to the food court with other thousands and thousands of people looking for food. We want to make sure that you have flexibility in meal timings. Meal starts from 6:30 to 10:30 in the morning for breakfast. Similarly, from Maghrib to about 10 o'clock in the evening. And they are clean, they're hygienic, they have multiple entrees and quite a variety in there. And so we want to make sure that you are eating properly, and it's all the choices that's possible in international cuisine is available to you in these hotels, in the restaurants of the hotel. Let's talk about the other equally important item. So when I'm in Medina and Mecca, I'm close to the Haram. I get that. I've got 2 square meals. I get that. That's something that Islam does. And now when it comes to no hotels, I'm now in the manasik of Hajj, 8th of Zulhijjah till the 13th of Zulhijjah. Location and services in those locations are of paramount importance in your experience. If I take away the logistics from you, if I take away the admin from you, and I have you concentrate on your purpose, which is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with concentration. Don't be distracted. Don't be worried about what's going to happen when the bus is going to come, the train is going to come. What about the bathroom? What about the meals? That's what I'm trying to do. And I'm saying to you that we're trying to influence our service providers to provide us space and services in that space that is going to produce that experience for you. This is something we've done in the past, and we're hoping we'll continue to do so and improve upon it. We're showing you now a map of Mina as a valley. You can see the typical North American, the European camp, which is called the Muassim camp, which is the area D, is far away. It is at a distance where you have to come to the Jamarat. You can see the VIP camp. I like to call it the premium camp. People use the term VIP. It's, to me, is a premium camp because of the location and the fact that I have flexibility in this camp to provide services. I don't have flexibility in the North American European camp for the services. It's all provided by them. It's just going to be just one type of services. Everybody gets the same services. I cannot set up something independently or separately in those camps. Excuse me. So I have the Majr al-Kabsh. This whole area is called Majr al-Kabsh. The one that is circled in the golden diagram outline is basically the camp where normally we stay. You can see how close it is to the Jamarat as such. So the difference here is this. Besides the fact that I have flexibility in the type of services I can offer in Majr al-Kabsh, I am also close to the Jamarat. I am going to have to come to the Jamarat on the 10th of Zulhijjah, 11th and 12th and the 13th. If I'm in the North American Muassim camp, that distance is a good 45 minutes to 1 hour walking distance, because all the valley that you see, all the white that you see, the streets that you see in the middle, no traffic is allowed. There's actually going to be no traffic moving. Only way you can get there from the camp to the Jamarat is walking. And last year the temperature was about 115, 114 in Fahrenheit. It was about 44 to 46 degrees Celsius. I can tell you last year in Arafat, the temperature was 48 degrees Celsius, which is approximately 120 Fahrenheit. So just bear that in mind when you think about, okay, I'm going to be in that camp and I have rotating buses. I don't have a dedicated bus. I don't have access to the train station. I'm going to have to take a bus to go to Arafat and Muzdalifah and Mina. And I have standard services that applies to all. Reason we choose Camp A, or reason we choose Majr al-Kabsh, is because we want to be able to customize some of the services. So here's a closer look at that camp. Now I want you to look at the bottom left side. You can see how close that train station is. So when I'm going to have to leave from Mina to go to Arafat, I'll be taking the Al-Mashair train. Once you get on the train and the train moves, it literally is 15 minutes between Mina and Arafat. 15 minutes from station to station. That's the advantage you have. And that camp is set up specifically. There's a nice view here from a picture perspective. You can see where the camp is. You can see how close it is to the Jamarat. And I want you to take a look at this picture and you see entrance to the tunnel. That entrance to the tunnel is the end of Mina. I'm now closer to the Haram. By entering the tunnel, I'm actually leaving Mina. Why is this important? Because while you're in the camps after Arafat, they shut the roads down. While you see in this picture all the buses on one side of the street, that's because this was the last day and the buses were allowed in to come and pick up the pilgrims and take them back to Mecca. But generally, if I had taken this picture on the 9th of Zulhijjah or the 10th of Zulhijjah or the 11th of Zulhijjah, these roads will be empty because the traffic is stopped on the other side of the tunnel. By being closer to the tunnel, If I have to go to the haram to perform tawaf al-ifada, or if I have to leave Mina, I am about 20 minutes from here, 1.25 miles from entering the tunnel. My buses are standing on the other side to pick you up and take you from there to your hotel in Mecca or to the haram, for example. So I have an advantage of the location, how close it is to the end of Mina, how close it is to the Jamarat. Now we talk about flexibility in the services. I can actually create the design of the tent that allows for privacy as well as congregational gatherings. I actually have flexibility in providing some of the services and how things are designed, working with the service provider. I always use, and we've always used new furnishings, the sofa bed that folds into a chair that unfolds it into a sofa bed. They are new, the pillows are new, the blankets are new. We have, based on the number of people and the number of bathrooms located in that small area that I'd shown in the diagram, relatively a better ratio between people and bathroom as such. And of course, women and men have separate accommodation. Bathrooms are North American style toilets, ceramic tiles in the bathroom floor. They have handheld shower within the bathroom stall. And we do have attendants that keep going in there every so often to make sure the bathrooms are clean. And then we can help you prior to your departure. How do you take a shower and exactly how you carry yourself in there. And I've given you at the bottom expected outdoor temperature because this is what we experienced last year. So you can have an understanding, while you're in your camp, it's air conditioned and it has a tile floor. We don't just use the air conditioning unit that's sitting outside the camp that was installed by the government. We have inside the camp on the walls separate air conditioning unit to make sure that the things are cool, relatively cool inside the camp. As far as food is concerned, food and drink just as important. We've always used, and we will influence them to use the same type of catering services in Mina. We've always used them. And again, our role is to influence them. Our role is to advise them. And we hope that they will continue to do the same thing. And that is, catering stations are set up respectively separately for women and men based on the packages you have. The hot meals are actually prepared in the camp's kitchen. It's not a box meal, but brought in from outside. If God forbid the truck bringing it in, the van bringing it in gets stuck, it's hot enough outside that the meal will go bad pretty shortly. So we actually have the frozen stuff brought into the camp. The chefs prepares the hot meals. It's kept insulated and actually served out into an open buffet style setup that you normally would see at weddings. Ample salad, ample entrees, ample dessert. And then of course you have, variety in it. Because it's going to be hot, we want to make sure that you can have cold or hot drinks 24 hours a day. There'll be insulated coolers all over the camp for you to go grab drinks. There'll be fridges everywhere in the camp for you to go grab drinks and make sure you're hydrated all the time. So that's the type of a setup we have, that you should take away concerns with respect to meals. You should take away concerns with respect to bathroom, with respect to furnishing, with respect to location, in terms of the area that we're going to be camping you, because you're going to be staying in Mina for 4 or 5 days while you are not in the hotel. Arafat camp is located near the train station, so it's not too far away of a walk, maybe 10 minutes walk, if you will, to get there. Now there we have the large German style tents. The tents that you will probably have in a large backyard if you're having a party. So large tents to accommodate each program. Of course, women's tent different than men's tent. We don't use water cool units. We use AC units, actual industrial AC units where we can find them. And we have indoor carpeting with area for sitting. And of course, it's the same area that you use for congregational prayers and lectures. There's outdoor carpeting also throughout the camp with some of the sitting areas, but not necessarily everywhere. But there is sufficient outdoor carpeting in some of the areas. The toilets are North American style toilets. You have attendants to keep them clean. There is going to be an open buffet lunch, for example. And of course, we want to make sure that you remain hydrated. So there'll be plenty of liquids available for you to consume to remain hydrated. So again, I'll give you an example. Last year when I went for Hajj, we walked into the camp. It was nice and cool. Everybody got set down. And then of course, around, right after Zohar prayers, we had Zohar and Asr prayer. And then we had the khutbah of Arafat. I had calls coming in from the women's tent saying, look, the AC is not working. So I had them cover up and walked in there with the technician, and the temperature on the AC unit said 36 degrees Celsius. The AC actually was working, but it just couldn't keep up with the heat. It was set at 16 degrees. So AC was working. Just to give you an idea as to how hot it gets sometimes. Because you have the camp, the front part of the camp is open, the door is open for people coming in and out. You can't stop that. So you have to bear in mind, you have to prepare yourself in terms of, and we'll tell you about how to keep yourself hydrated in those situations in one of those logistical admin seminars that'll happen prior to departure. We'll be with you, inshallah. As far as train is concerned, during manasik of Hajj, we use al-Mashayar train. This is a train system that's been in place for about 10 years now, and the basically is used 2 days in a year. So it'll take the pilgrims in the morning from Mina to Arafat, in the evening from Arafat to Muzdalifah, and from Muzdalifah the next morning back to Mina. And that's the end of the use of the train system. There are 3 stations, 3 in Mina, 3 in Muzdalifah, 3 in Arafat. And so our normal camp that I shared with you in Mina is close to Mina station number 3. And I'm assuming, and that's how it normally is, that the train goes from Mina station 3 to Arafat station 3, which will be, inshallah, where our camp in Arafat will be. The train holds about 3,000 people. There is lineup for the train. There is lineup in the platform, but there'll be someone from Dar es Salaam and someone from the Hajj service provider with you, guiding the group from the camp all the way to the train station. Here's an example of what we've done in the past. We've taken you out from your camp, families together, walked over to one of those escalators and elevators up to the top level, walked into the train station, into the platform, labbaik Allahumma labbaik, and into the train and going to Arafat. And the reverse is true when we come back the next day to Mina. Now, besides the train, we also use air-conditioned buses. Unlike the Muassim camp, where they have buses that covers only 60% of the people, roughly speaking, which means they are actually rotating the buses. You have to go and wait your turn, kind of a thing. We actually have dedicated buses, and we normally want to use the 2024 and 2025 model buses because we don't want to get into a situation where the buses are going to break down and ACs are not working. So we'll take the latest model buses, and these are the buses that will take you between Mina and Haram for Tawaf al-Ifada, and then for Tawaf al-Wada, or generally at the end of the Hajj. So the buses will go back and forth. Some of you will have a non-shifting package. You want to go back to your hotel in Mecca. There will be a shuttle service by the bus. So the buses will go back and forth, and we'll provide the latest buses, and it'll be dedicated buses for the group. Equally important, when people talk about hotels, most of the questions I get about hotels, how close it is, and I want to give you a picture here of the whole full element here. So the hotel is nice, but how hot is it going to be? If it is close, you want to go to the Haram all the time, yes, you need it to be close because it's going to be very hot. What about meals? Because you are going to eat meals. Well, let's just take that away from you and put it in the hotels and have enough variety in them. You don't have to go and buy anything from outside from a meal perspective, unless you want to eat something else. But other than that, there's enough provided in the hotels. What about the camp in Mina? Air conditioning, nice, comfortable furnishings inside. Meals are there. The camp has security around. Great. What about helping me understand how to perform Hajj, both from an administrative perspective and most importantly, from a religious perspective? I want to feel that I know what I'm doing, and I want to feel that I have a guide that can help me with that. So we have recommended shuyukhs, Hajj service provider. They're going to select the shuyukhs, and I'm sure that one of those slides, you've seen those slides presented by Brother Ahmed in terms of selection of shuyukhs. These are the shuyukhs that are selected by the Hajj service providers, and they're going to assign them to specific programs, packages. And these are the shuyukhs that I know of that worked with Dar es Salaam in the past, some of them for decades, that are experienced in providing Hajj services. And they are the ones who will give lectures in Medina and Mecca during your stay. They're the ones that will lead the congregational prayers and give lectures in Mina and Arafat and Muzdalifah, and available to you for Q&A and all fiqh issues about Hajj. And I want to share with you this that was shared previously as well. So Al-Burj, for example, have Sheikh Muhammad Salah. He's our resident scholar for Dar es Salaam and has been for decades. Sheikh Yahya Ibrahim, Sheikh Yasir Birjas. Dr. Haifa Yunus is there. Sheikh Hussam Musa. Sheikh Kamani, I just met him in Umrah when I was there just last week. And then you have top-notch shuyukhs available, and Al-Burj is taking it, and now it's a matter of them assigning it. So one or two or all or some will be available to us in terms of being able to provide guidance on any and all religious aspect as pertaining to Hajj. If you are going to be taking any packages from Sira Muasim, you have these are the shuyukhs that are going to be with us, and they have been with us for Dar Islam for a number of years, and they're available to us in any of the packages that they present. And then, of course, the last one is Abdul Latif Jamil, and you have these shuyukhs available to us, and all of them have been with Dar Islam for decades. So you have the religious aspects covered. In addition, you'll have people that travel from the offices here in Canada and the United States, and also Australia. We have Sheikh Yahya Ibrahim, for example. We will be there as well, and we'll have roles assigned. We're trying to influence the service providers to have a program manager assigned that has the management experience, that is looking overall after a certain program, and then an operation manager that looks after all the logistics in support of the program, whether it's luggage transfer, whether it's train transfer, whether it's just simply transfer from point A to point B, whether it's facility setup. And of course, you have physicians. Dar Islam has been unique in providing physicians, and especially you need physicians during the manasik of Hajj. We've had in the past physicians available in the camps, and there to actually advise you. And if need be, for you to be sent to a clinic or a hospital, there'll be sufficient support provided. But at least you should feel secure that there are physicians available and assigned to each of the Hajj packages during the manasik of Hajj. Going forward, we plan to host separate webinars to present the religious as well as logistical aspects of the Hajj journeys. You're prepared on both sides. They will be held prior to departure, inshallah. And then, of course, the staff will be with you throughout the trip. So stay tuned for that. Now let's go into packages. What are the Hajj packages? Let me start off by describing to you the definition of shifting and non-shifting. Non-shifting accommodation simply means that when you are in the manasik of Hajj, in the camps in Mina and Arafat, that you still retain your hotel room in Mecca. You do not check out of the hotel room. Your luggage remains in the hotel room, and you have access to the hotel room during the manasik. For example, when you come back from Arafat into your camp in Mina, you want to go and shower in your hotel room and spend some time relaxing, and then come back again later on into the camp. Yes, you have access to that, and you can do that, for example. A shifting accommodation means that you check out of your hotel room in Mecca when you start the manasik. So on the 8th of Dhul Hijjah, you're going to Mina, you'll be checking out. Your luggage will be transferred to your next destination. So if you have a program, for example, that has you go to Medina after Hajj, then your luggage is packed. What you need for Mina and Arafat, you keep separate. We will guide you, we'll help you with that. It'll be part of the things that we cover in our logistical seminar. And the rest of your luggage is packed up and will be shipped out to Medina. And you have now checked out while you're in the camp. But do you have any accommodation while you're in the camp? Yes. There's accommodation, which is a furnished apartment. All accommodations are quad occupancy. So even if in the hotel that you had double occupancy, it doesn't matter. When you are in a shifting accommodation, the accommodation during the manasik of Hajj is all quad occupancy for men and for women. So that will be available to you at some short walking distance. That tunnel that I showed you in the previous slide, you walk through the tunnel, on the other side are those furnished buildings. It'll be one of those buildings that you'll be in if you want to go there. 90% of the people don't go there. They actually spend the time in the camp. But should somebody say, look, I need to go there, I need to use that bathroom, can I relax during the daytime? Because it's wajib for you to spend the night in Muzdalifah, then you can go there during the day and come back. At least you'll have accommodation. And that's why it's called shifting, because you're shifting out of your Mecca hotel and not keeping it in the non-shifting package. That's the definition. During the manasik of Hajj, either you retain the hotel room or you don't retain the hotel room. It's clear. Now I'm going to walk you through the three service providers. Al-Burj. They have non-shifting executive packages. There's an A and a B. They both start in Medina, and I'll explain that in a bit detail. These are specifically made available in the USA, Canada, UK, and Australia. Then there is the non-shifting signature packages, again an A and B. Starts in Medina, and this is available only for the Canadian and the USA market. And then there is a shifting deluxe package. That's also an A and B, and that's available in USA and Canada. And this one has one starting in Mecca, one starting in Medina. Now let's go through it one at a time. So I've put together an example of a luxury non-shifting executive package. You can see that this one starts in Medina on the 4th of Zulhijjah, which really is the 10th of June, which means you're arriving in Medina around 10th of June. It may be that your airline will cause you to come in 11th of June, depending on how you purchase the airline. That's separate altogether. We'll have a separate discussion on that. But the program actually starts on the 4th of Zulhijjah until the 7th of Zulhijjah, 4th, 5th, 6th, 3 nights. And if you're in the A package, your accommodation in Medina is in Hilton. If you're in the B package, your accommodation in Medina is in Move and Pay. That's the difference. Now, when you do move on the 7th of Zulhijjah into Mecca, because now you're going to Mecca in Ihram, you're going to perform your Umrah, and you're going to wait for Hajj, right? So you came into Medina without Ihram, relax a little bit. You don't have to worry about it. You actually have a lecture there before to freshen up, again, refresh your fiqh of Hajj and fiqh of Umrah. And then you go in, inshallah, with high-speed train between Medina and Mecca. It's subject to approval, but what we'll try to do is get you from Medina to Mecca on high-speed train. It's a wonderful journey if you've never been on it. You know, it's about 2 hours and 15 minutes from Medina station to Mecca station. And once you get to your hotel, you check in, you do your Umrah. Now you can see this hotel in Mecca, you retain until the end of Hajj. From 7th to 14th, you have your room. Even though on the 8th, you're going to Mina. Even though the 9th is the day of Arafat and the 10th is back to Mina and the day of Eid, you still have your hotel room. That's why it's called non-shifting. You're not shifting out. The difference between package A and B is A is in the Fairmont Hotel and B is in the Swiss Hotel. I hope this is clear. You know, you start in Medina and you return back from Jeddah. You arrive on the 10th of June and you return back on the 19th or the 20th of June, depending on your airline. Now, what happens if my airline is a day late? For example, I cannot leave on the 14th. I have to leave on the 15th. In a situation like this, what we do is we'll get you out of the hotel on the 14th of Zulhijjah and we'll have an accommodation for you in Jeddah, inshallah, so that you can spend the time until your flight goes. Let's look at the signature one. That was the executive package A and B. Now you have signature A and B. Signature is also non-shifting, but it also starts in Medina, also has the same distinction between A is superior hotel than B. Both of them are 5-star hotel. Both of them are close proximity to the Haram. That's not the issue. But the difference here is that you're starting early. In the previous one, you arrived on the 4th of Dhul-Hijjah. Here, you're arriving on the 1st of Dhul-Hijjah. So this is the one where it gives you more time. You're coming in on the 7th of June into Medina and spending 3 nights. On the 4th of Dhul-Hijjah, you're going to Mecca in Ihram, performing your Umrah and staying in that hotel and retaining that hotel to the end of Hajj. So you spend 4 nights, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th in Mecca, and then you move on to Mina, but you still retain your room. And then at the end of Hajj, come back to your hotel, you pack up, and if your flight's on the 14th, no problem. Your flight is a bit later, a day later, you'll probably spend some time in a hotel in Jeddah and come back. Again, the difference between A and B are the hotels. Both of them starts in Medina. Okay, I want to talk about luxury shifting package. Now this one is shifting because you're starting in Medina. A starts in Medina, not in Mecca. A starts on the 7th of June, 1st to 4th of Dhul-Hijjah, you're in Medina. Then you go to Mecca, inshallah by high-speed train, and you spend there the 4th to 7th. You're going to perform your Umrah, and you're going to stay there in the hotel, enjoy the close proximity to the Haram, and you're going to shift out from there on the 7th of Zulhijjah because you're starting a manasik. You're going to move on to your luggage will go out to a place wherever you're going to be. For example, in Azizia, or if you're going to spend any time in Jeddah, it'll be out in Jeddah, for example. We'll take care of the luggage. You don't have to worry about it, but you're going to actually check out of your hotel in Mecca before you move in to the manasik. And at the end of the manasik, you'll go back to your Azizia apartment, and then from there you'll be going to the airport for your flight return back to home. Again, 7th to 20th. This is a Medina first shifting deluxe. Next one is a Mecca first shifting deluxe, which is package B, and this is very popular from those who want to take it because it starts on the 4th of Zulhijjah in Mecca. So you're starting coming in ihram and doing your umrah, and then you're checking out and doing your manasik. And at the end of the manasik, you can go and relax from the 13th of Zulhijjah to the 17th of Zulhijjah in Medina, and your return flight is from Medina. Okay, this is very clear because after manasik, when you go to Medina, you're among the first ones to arrive there. Medina is relatively empty for the first day or two before crowd from Mecca shows up, and you get to enjoy Medina just as much. Now, what are the gateways for Al Burj? Potential USA gateways, because this is still a work in progress. It's not all, we have some seats. Yes, we have some gateways. But then again, look at the note at the bottom. Not all airlines available from all the gateways. So not each of the airlines are mentioning working with Turkish Airlines and Qatar Airways. They don't fly out from all of those gateways. So some of the airlines are specific to some gateways, but we're going to be covering those gateways for these packages. We also have Canada, YYZ. We have UK, and we have Perth, Sydney, and Melbourne, Australia, mainly for the executive program as such. So some packages may be available from specific gateway, and some packages may be available for specific geography as such. So this is available. Al Burj is extensive. They're offering the services to all of Dar es Salaam's here, if you will, which is UK and Australia and Canada besides the USA. The other two are only USA specific. Actually, no, it probably has Canada in it as well. So you have these potential gateways, and these are the airlines. As more gets confirmed, we'll update you more. This is as of now. I'm trying to understand that I want to go from DFW or Houston, or I'm going to go from Miami, but I want to go on Qatar Airways. If Miami, I may have Miami on Turkish, I may not have Miami on Qatar. I may have LAX on Qatar, I may not have LAX on Turkish. So it doesn't mean that they fly out of that gateway. I have the seats as such. It's just that we'll be serving those gateways, and this will improve through time as we get more and more airlines lined up. Some of these airlines, of course, you have to understand these airlines have to be submitted by the service providers to the Ministry of Hajj to say, look, I have these flights, and then they're made available in Nusuk so you can actually see them as such. And as Brother Ahmed pointed out, if you don't want to choose any of the service provider airlines, then you have the choice of going through their system called Musafir, which actually goes out and selects the airline that you want to go on. You probably pay a premium for it because you're buying a seat on the fly as we speak. So service providers are still working with the airlines, and as we get more information on the gateways and the airlines, will update you as such. But I want you to understand from this chart that not all of the gateways are available to all of the airlines that has been listed. Some pairing will not work, are not available. And some packages will be available only. I want to go on this package. Okay, it's only available from this gateway. It's only available from JFK. It's only available from Canada, for example. You'll hear that, and you'll probably see that when it comes to Nusuk being fully uploaded with these airlines when the time comes for the sales. Let's talk about Sira Mawasim. Sira Mawasim has two non-shifting package, DST-001, DST-002. Again, you will notice that both Al Burj has called it DS executive. That's to give you an idea. This is Dar es Salaam's package, and Al Sira Mawasim is calling it DST 001 and 2 and 3. The third one is shifting. The first two are non-shifting, and the first two are in Medina first, and the last one is Mecca first. They're all available only in the USA. Let's take a look at what they are. So Mawasi Elite Non-shifting is very similar. You're starting in Medina on the 1st to 4th Zulhijjah in move and pick, and then you come to Mecca and do your Umrah and stay in that hotel. You start your manasik from that hotel, but you retain your hotel room. At the end of the manasik, you come back to your hotel room and you depart from there to the airport to return home. Very simple. Next one is also non-shifting, except this one starts in Medina on the 4th of Zulhijjah, not the first like previous one. Starting on the 10th of June, a shorter package basically. The first one was the 1st of June, 4th, 7th to the 19th. This one is 10th to the 19th. And you're staying in Swiss Maqam in Mecca. You retain that hotel room during the manasik, and you end of manasik, you go from there to the airport and return. Last one is shifting. You're starting in Mecca, do your Umrah, and then after that, when you go to the manasik of Hajj, you leave your room, and at the end of the manasik, you'll be transferred to Medina and move and pick, and there you'll spend 3 nights and then return back on the 17th. Potential gateways for USA is basically JFK IAD, Chicago, DFW, Houston, LAX, and that's Turkish Airlines, Qatar Airways, and Emirates. Against the same thing. You may not have all of the airlines going through all of the gateways. Some gateways and airlines will match. I want to go on Turkish. Okay, it's available from JFK. It's available from ORD. It's available from LAX. I want to go from Houston. Okay, that's only Emirates. So that's how it will be. As such, depends on where you're going from. Okay. Then the last one is Abdul Latif Jamil. He has one shifting, Makkah first, and both non-shifting, Makkah first and Medina first. One package each, again available in the USA. You can see that non-shifting one starts on the 7th of June, and it starts in Crown Plaza in Medina. And then you come to Mecca in Anjum Hotel, and you stay there, do your Umrah, stay there, start your manasik from there, retain your room during the manasik, and of course, at the end of Hajj, you come back to your hotel, and then you pack up and you go to your airport and return home, starting in Medina. This is a longer duration, 7th to the 20th of June. The next one is non-shifting as well. Also start in Crown Plaza. You start in Anjum. You start in Mecca first, and you go to Medina after Hajj. But you do retain your hotel room. You do retain your hotel room during the manasik, but you do come back to your hotel room, and from there you depart to Medina, and then you return home from Medina on the 23rd of June. Latif, the potential gateways are the same. They're working with Saudi Airlines and Emirates. MashaAllah, the service providers have been very good in terms of working with us, and they're constantly in touch with us. And the fact that they're using all these premium airlines, which is a good thing. And the fact that we tell them generally, historically, the people that go, from which gateways they go, which is a good thing. So the only difference you might say, wait a minute, I'm from Canada. If you're from Canada, the only gateway we have is YYZ, is Toronto. So if you're from Montreal, from Calgary, you have to make your own domestic into Toronto to be able to depart. If you're from the UK, the only gateway we have is London Heathrow. If you're from Australia, we have 3 gateways. We have Perth, we have Sydney, we have Melbourne. So you can see we have gateways per country. Canada and UK are 1 gateway, and Australia has 3, and the US has several, and we match the airlines associated with that. Well, Hajj packages, when it becomes available, this is not the time where you're buying it. When you're going to go and configure, here's a package. You will select it based on Hajj service provider. Okay, I'm looking for Al Burj. I'm looking for Sira Muasim. I'm looking for Abdul Latif Jamil. You go in there, you will see this DST01, all the packages that the name that we've provided you, and you will find the package that I am referring to. I've shared with you here. Select the package based on cost and travel dates in your budget. But know that all the packages shown will be in Saudi riyals. When you see the packages, it will not include the flights, because the flight is a separate component. You will be given a choice to take the flight that is shown by the service provider, or be transferred to Musafir, which is another portal through which you can ask for flight. For example, I want to go and drop my kids off in Cairo. I'm not going to be able to use any one of these flights that you're giving me that's going straight for Hajj and coming back. So I need to go through Musafir. In that case, you'll get your flight It's only after you select your flight that that will be added on to your cost, right? So the initial will be priced in Saudi riyals, not include flight, and then when you include the flight, will be added. So flight can be chosen Musafir or what's listed by the service provider. For example, if you're from Toronto and you go in there, you'll find from Al Burj a package that the service provider will list the price on Turkish Airlines, because I know that they have taken some seats on Turkish Airlines out of Toronto for a shifting package, as an example. There may be limited variation though. If somebody says, look, I like to go to other destination after Hajj, or I want to stop here, none of these service providers are providing those options as I speak. They're simply providing the option of going for Hajj and coming back. If you're looking for any variation, you have to try whatever Musafir is offering and whatever they're going to charge you for it. And that should be understood. Okay. Arrival and departure dates may vary. You go into Musafir and you say, look, I'm trying to arrive there on the 7th of June. My program starts there. And Musafir may come back and tell you, sorry, you're arriving on the 8th of June. What that means is that your program is starting on the 7th, but you're arriving a day later, even 2 days later. So now your 3 nights in Medina is cut short to 1 night in Medina or 2 nights in Medina. That will be the choices given to you, because what's available is what's presented to you. Okay, understand how it would work. Now, this is an important part. This is the part that people had frustration with last year, that they were paying through and the payment didn't go through and my booking got canceled. What they're doing this year is making the packages available to you early for a reason. Go through the package you're looking for. Configure the package you're looking for. See if the airline is showing. Now you will see exactly what the total price is. So I'm reading the bottom line first, the bottom part highlighted in yellow. Once you determine the total cost, please top off your e-wallet to cover the entire cost. Don't wait for when the booking starts, that you go out now and say, I want to buy this package, and then it comes back and tells you you don't have enough sufficient funds in your e-wallet. And now you're trying to scramble to put the money in the e-wallet. And for all I know, it may have been giving you 1 hour to put the money in the e-wallet, and your credit card is not going through because it's being flagged as being a suspicious transaction. It's in a foreign currency in a foreign country. Don't put yourself in that position. Once you have the opportunity for a few days to look at what the packages are, and you configure what you're looking for, and you know how much it's going to cost, you have those few days to also top off your e-wallet. Just top it off. Just make sure that you've topped it up, so that when the time comes, when the sale starts, it's just a matter of click, click, and you're done, because your money is there. Not click, oh, I'm short of money. It will give you the option to add more to your e-wallet. Don't get me wrong. What happened last year, that people got the option of adding money and they were using the credit card, even though they had the credit limit. But the bank flagged it because not of the credit limit, because it was considered a suspicious transaction and the time expired. You may be given 1 hour. You may be given 1 hour. I want you to understand this thing. Once the sale is on, you have configured your package, great. Now the sale starts. The capacity is not the package. The issue is not the capacity of the package. There'll be sufficient packages to take far more than the quota. The issue is the quota. Once the number of people that are on from a specific country exceeds the quota, others cannot get on. Hear me out. Once the number of people that exceeds the quota or meets the quota are on, that thread established, they're on Nusuk, they're configuring their package, the rest cannot get on. They are given 1 hour to pick a package. In that 1 hour, they find they don't have sufficient funds in their e-wallet. They're given an option to go and put funds in the e-wallet. They put through their credit card, it gets declined, you lose your booking. When you lose your booking, the next guy who's waiting, because he couldn't get on, because the quota was full, gets in. Next thing you know, you're saying, look, I had half the money in my e-wallet, but I was trying to put more money in, it had rejected me, and now I know I don't have any packages. Don't put yourself in that position. If you've been given a chance to look at the packages and configure it, know the total amount, then take the time. That's the time to make sure there are no issues in completing your e-wallet. Just top it off so that when the sales open, the money is there and it's done in one shot. I hope I make myself very clear, because adding credit to e-wallet is not easy, as some of you have experienced through wire transfer and bank transfer, depending on whether you're in Canada or United States. Different methods are being applied. That's the reason why they created e-wallet, to give you the chance to work out those issues. But you will not be able to work out the issue when you've been told you don't have sufficient funds and you have 40 minutes to actually top up your wallet. So it's better for you to not top up the wallet when you configure your package and not after. Hajj visa will be issued by Nusuk. It'll come in an email to you. Your passport image and photo is already with them. The proof of vaccination, as far as I know so far, it's meningitis vaccine. I don't know whether they'll ask you to upload it at the time of visa issuance, or like last year, they asked you whether you had this and basically did not ask anybody to upload the proof of vaccination, just asked you to take it with you in case they inspect it upon arrival. So just make sure that you're covered with respect to meningitis. The last slide I have is will inform you of the next steps based on the process that's ahead, which is when the packages are out there. I think Brother Ahmed will come on another webinar and walk you through the package, how you configure the package, what are the options, how do you add services, so you know what to do, because it'll be available for a few days. And then make sure you've made your decision. Make sure you've prayed istikhara. Make sure you know what you're doing. Right? Don't change your mind halfway through. Just make sure you have your decision done and your wallet is topped off. And then, of course, next thing we'll be doing once this is done, we'll talk to you about having webinars, both administrative and religious, on the aspects of the journey, so that this part is behind you now. You've already purchased the package. Now you're preparing yourself for the journey itself, inshallah. So stay tuned. So what I ask you is be patient as we all go through this process. And inshallah, if may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant ease to all of us. And for those of us who are anxious and have been anxious for at least since COVID began, and I know people have been telling me, we've been trying. May Allah make it easy for them. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who calls people to his house. It is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who honors you to be in his presence, in his house for the sacred journey. So don't ever forget the power of dua. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to call you to his house. Make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow you to perform Hajj. Don't rely on technology. Rely on your dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and he is the one who's going to make a way for you, inshallah. Rabbul Alameen. That's the end of my presentation. So I'm going to stop sharing this thing, and I'm going to pick up Q&A. Okay. All right. So okay. I have a whole bunch of questions. Let me tell you that I will not be answering any question pertaining to how Nusuk operates. My job is to really that part has been explained by Hajj Ahmed, and so I would just leave it at that. Okay. Ms. Ahmed, are you online? If you are, I am no longer the host, therefore I cannot turn the video
All
on.
right, one moment, sir.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, all yours.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Okay, so brothers and sisters, I sincerely hope that this was useful to you. That's the main thing for me in getting this thing across. Some of this thing is dynamic, some of the things not settled, but we want to present to you as sincerely and honestly as we possibly can. And so now I'm going to just go over your questions. What are the advantage, disadvantage of starting in Mecca versus Medina? What do you recommend for the first time Hajj? It really is your preference. Some people prefer to go to Medina after they've cleansed themselves of the sins by doing Hajj first, so they like to go to Mecca first. Some people will look at it and say, you know what, I don't want to go right away and do Hajj or Umrah. I might be tired, so let me just go to Medina. I don't have to be in Ihram, and then after that I will go and perform Umrah at that time. So it depends, and also depends on the conditions. If you're young, then you can do Makkah first. There's nothing wrong with it. It's really your choice to say. When we select shifting, do you stay in Makkah hotel before Mashar days or afterwards? When you select shifting, you're staying in the hotel and you check out of the hotel when Mashayar starts. You no longer have access to the hotel on the 8th of Zulhijjah onwards, and that's when you leave. So prior to that, you will be staying in the hotel. And I think I've already shown you the packages and the duration in Zulhijjah dates as to when you're going to be in those hotels. Question from Linda: how often do people go back and forth from Mina camp to the hotel in Mecca? Those who retain the hotel room will probably go. Let's say the day they come back from the day of Eid, they want to go there and remove their ihram and relax and then come back as such. So I would say 2 times on the day of Eid, on the 10th and on the 11th, and they will not do it more than that. Those who do not have the hotel room, they are in the shifting package. They actually stay in Mina, and the only time they go to Mecca is to perform Tawaf al-Ifada and come back. Question: can I extend my stay for another week beyond 14 days, beyond 23rd with a luxury package? That way I can book my flights accordingly. Now, when you say, can I extend my stay for another week? If you're referring to the extending, already including the hotel rooms, as such, it's too early to say that you can get the hotel rooms, because the hotel rooms will be busy even beyond the 23rd as such. We have only the allotments, the working with service provider that covers that. So it's too early for me to say that can you or can you not. It may be part of the other services that are offered when you see the packages, and the service provider will be able to help you accordingly, inshallah. Will we really be expected to pay the full amount at the time of booking? Thank you very much, Dina, for asking this question. Again, I will repeat. If you are selecting a package for 3 people, and that's the amount that you're looking at, and you've chosen the package, you know how much it is, top off your wallet, because to book completely, it requires a full payment. So expect to have a full payment. Will they give you a grace period? You've paid half. Remember, the quota is smaller than the demand. There are far more people ready to do it. So it's best for you to top off the wallet so you don't have to worry about, oh, I only paid so much and I have so much left and my time is expired. We went through all of those experiences last year. So I'm speaking from last year's experiences where people left money, half their money, and just couldn't. Their money was wired, but it never got there on time. And so they lost their package and they fought for refund for months. Don't go into that position. If you are sure you're going for Hajj, why wait for 5 days grace period to pay the money? Just top up the wallet and buy it in one shot. Yes, that's what I would say. Okay, I registered for both myself, husband and sister together, but I was unable to list that. Okay, you're not talking about profile being set properly in. We would like to be in one hotel room since my husband is Harmeram. Placing us, they understand, they put us together, split us up as my husband. Okay, when the time comes for you to be put in a rooming, that's when the decision will be made. Right now, you will say, I want to be in one room. And at that time, when the rooming is done, that's when we'll decide exactly how that will be, because it should be done on the basis of mahram relationship. Will representatives from Dar es Salaam, the service providers, and scholars be with us throughout the journey, whether we choose Medina or Mecca first? The representative from Dar es Salaam and the scholars will be throughout with you, regardless of the package that you chose, because the scholars will be assigned some to the Medina first and some to the Mecca first. The representative from Dar es Salaam will definitely be assigned to Medina and Mecca first, and they'll all be together when it matters, which is Mina, which is Arafat and Muzdalif. 2 questions. 2 questions. Are all 11 packages marked by Dar es Salaam for Majar al-Kabsh? If I'm really short on time and just want to do the Hajj in and out 6 days, what are my options? So let me answer the second part first. There is no such thing as 6 days. They have a limitation, and when the last flight must land in Saudi Arabia for those intending to go for Hajj. And that last flight, as you saw, our dates are 10th of June. 4th of Zulhijjah, you must land. Hajj starts on the 8th. So the minimum is 10 days, not 6 days. You land on the 4th of Zulhijjah, Hajj ends on the 13th, and you come back on the 14th. So you just can't go in and do Umrah and go to Mina. The flights don't come in. They will stop. The General Authority on Civil Aviation says the last flight to land is the 4th of Zulhijjah. So you can't do the 6 days. Right? Let's start with that. Second part is, all of our packages are Majar al-Kabsh. all of them are Madar al-Kabsh. Yes, that's the second answer, part of your second question. How many people will be there sharing per tent in Mina? And will beds be assigned in advance? Some VIP tents offer more bed style rather than sofa style. Is that expected with you also? It's too early, Brother Ahmed, for that. I can tell you that there is no standard tents, people for tents in Mina. And the reason is because, like you think of it being a rectangular shape with an equal amount of feet across width and height, and length, then I can actually put X number of beds. They're not necessarily, if you saw the tent side, it's like a triangle. So basically what we do is we occupy the space needed for one sofa come bed, which is basically is called a foam sleeper chair, a sofa sleeper chair. Basically it folds up and it becomes a chair, it unfolds to become a sofa. And so that's what's assigned for each person with a small gap in between. And so if the tent size is smaller, less people will fit in. If the tent size is bigger, more people will fit in. Sometimes we also do is that we, for air circulation as well, instead of a tent taking 5 on one side and 5 on the other side, we'll open up the middle part and open up much wider and have half wall for privacy. What that does, it allows us to have congregational prayer, have a larger area open, and the imam can be standing on one part and addressing a whole bunch. At the same time, you can have enough privacy and sleeping arrangements. So it's not something that's easy to say how many per tents per se. And as far as the style is concerned, bed style or sofa style, it's something that is unknown at this time. What I can tell you is the foam sleeper chair is standard. Whether it's changes to something else, I cannot answer at this time. Is there going to be an option for single occupancy? I have not seen it. So I'm not so sure there will be one. You can always try it out in the other services section when you look at the package for configuration. Brother Tanveer, will there be any transportation from Mina to Makkah on the 10th, 11th, and 12th of Dhul-Hijjah? Yes, if you have the non-shifting package and you retain your hotel room, we'll take you after you come back on the 10th to your hotel in the morning, and then bring you back before Maghrib, because you must spend at least half the night in Mina, excuse me. And then, of course, after midnight or 1 o'clock, you can go back to your hotel, and we can do the same thing on the 12th. Generally speaking, people don't do it on the 12th. When they come on the 11th, they spend the night and throw their Jamrat in the morning and then leave. But there will be transportation between the two places. What are the price for standard and premium packages and the things it entails? Again, we mentioned yesterday in the webinar, the price is anywhere from 70,000 riyals and upwards, depending on the package you're looking at for a person in quad occupancy. So wait till the packages are out so you can tell. The pricing until it's finalized, it's difficult for me to go out and say, here's the standard price per se, and I would rather that you take a look at it when the packages come out. If you're flying out from Chicago, want to fly to Pakistan after Hajj, will that be an option available in Nusuk? I doubt it. I think what they will do is they'll transfer you to Musafir, and you find the flight in Musafir for Hajj and thereafter to Pakistan. Can you please explain the best way to purchase the business class flights with the group flight package? So the group flight package is all standard economy packages. If you're looking for a business class, then my guess would be that you'd actually go into Musafir and look for a business class flight. Next question is, are there direct flights from USA to Medina? Will your agent be at the airport to meet us? Do we choose which room at the hotel, or is it assigned upon arrival? So Saudi Airlines or other airlines do fly into Medina. When you say direct flight, if you say direct non-stop flight, that's the only airline that will fly direct non-stop would be Saudi Airline, and only on specific days. Their normal route is
Brother Azad, if I may interrupt, there is not a single airline from the United States or Canada that is going to arrive direct non-stop into Medina. In the past, Saudi Arabian Airlines, correct, used to go direct when they used to do a reroute upon our request, but I don't believe they'll be doing that this year.
Okay, so there's no direct non-stop. Is there a direct flight? Yes, you can take an Emirates will go to Dubai. They have flights going to Medina. There's a flight going to Jeddah, example, but not a non-stop. Will there be agent? available at the airport to meet us? Of course, you'll have somebody there to meet you. Do we choose which room at the hotel? No, the room is assigned to you, as opposed to you choosing the room. The hotel will assign the room as such based on the occupancy you choose. Now, please explain the steps starting from selecting packages until payments on Nusuk. That will be explained to you when the packages are out. I think it'll be another webinar with Brother Ahmed will walk you through, here's a package, here's how you configure it, and this is how you end up paying on Nusuk. What I merely want to point out is that once you do configure and know what the total amount is, so let's say you've configured it, you know what the total amount is, and I know the package will go on sale a week from now. Don't wait till it goes on sale. Top up your wallet to meet the total amount target so that the money is there when it comes for you to purchase it. Coming back on the 20th is way too close to finishing the manasik. What if the Hajj is moved further out? 21 would have some room to breathe after finishing the Hajj. These dates, Sister Sadia, is based on Qura calendar, and I believe there is enough flexibility in there. We have looked at it carefully. 7th of June is the first of is expected to be the first of Dhul Hijjah, and based on that, I think the 20th is pretty good.
And if I may add here something, Brother Azhar, that once you move into the airline and once we have the information about the airline and the gateways and the dates, there are some airlines that might return on the 21st, right? Or it's probably better that this sister can take Medina after Hajj, where then she'll have enough time to actually move forward. So it's really a personal preference for each person. Again, nothing is going to be clear until you start seeing it in the system. But again, it really is a personal preference. There's a lot. Every single one of us, right, is very individualized in their request on what they need, right? At the end of the day, is someone might say to you, "Oh, well, I think this hotel is better because the elevators and because I'm gonna walk here," or "I think Al Ma'isam is better is because I'm gonna save some money and I can take a walk and get my high rate, heart rate up and I can enjoy the walk." Or I think this, or I think that. So everyone really needs to think about what they need from a budget, from a process ritual perspective, from a convenience perspective, from whatever it may be. Remember that everyone is different. So you might see something that you might need because you want to stay longer. You want to make sure you want to stay until the 13th of the Hajj in Mina. Like Brother Azhar said, I don't believe you'll have a problem, especially if you're even leaving on the 20th of June. That's for sure, I believe.
Thank you, Brother Ahmed. Really appreciate it. I'm traveling with my husband who added me as a family member. I do not see the packages preferences from my login. Does that mean that only him can view the packages from his login? Brother Ahmed, would you like to answer that question? Because I believe it has to do with who has the profile.
If it's the main profile is going to see their family members. You can select for everyone within that profile. Very simply put, think of it as a joint account. They have access from one account. Everything goes into one account, and that's what needs to be done. So it can be one page. If you want to book separately than your husband, then he can unlink you or delink you from his account, so then you can book separately.
Thank you, Brother Ahmed. Will we be able to change return flight to an earlier date? It all depends on what you mean by earlier date. The Hajj will end and return flights will be allowed from the 14th of Dhul Hijjah onwards. If you're in a package that's going to go to Medina afterwards and you don't want to spend 3 nights in Medina and spend only 1 night in Medina and then return, you can certainly go to Musafir and take a look at what's available for you to come to an earlier date. But it will be one of those flights through Musafir as opposed to any of the flights that the service provider / Dar Islam will be offering. Assalamu alaikum. Why is Al Burj the only service provider for Canada versus via DST? This puts Canadians at a disadvantage compared to Americans who have access to all 3 service providers. Thank you. Well, now, let me start out by saying, Canada used to take 4,200 people for Hajj prior to COVID. It's been cut down to 1,300. Last year, we had 16,000 profiles on Nusuk and only 1,300 went. So over 90% didn't go. It's the same this year. So the service provider that's offering here is basically enough to cover what we have to cover with respect to the number of people we want to take out of Canada, which is close to 200. So we have to choose. We cannot take any variation that's below a bus level. Like I cannot take 2 people in this package and 4 people in that package. So it's best to actually choose a service provider where I can have that a number that I can group and manage and not be spread thin between Medina and Mecca, because some of the Canadians are in one package versus the other package. And Al Burj provides you everything. Al Burj has nothing short. It has the hotels and the variation and shifting and non-shifting, Mecca first, Medina first. So that's the reason why we chose Al Burj, given the numbers we had and given the fact that they are a quality organization that we work with all the time.
Hasan, and if I might add something here, no one is restricting any country. 126 countries. You can book on Anjum, Jamil, Sira, or Al Burj. The only thing that we are doing is basically specifying with Al Burj that these are the gateways, Toronto, as tickets, so we can gather all together. And remember, it's not about disadvantage of numbers; it's the disadvantage of the quota. So hypothetically, there can be 500 people that book from Canada with these 3 organizations through Dar es Salaam on the packages for Dar es Salaam, but we are selecting Al Burj for the gateway for airlines. That doesn't put you at a disadvantage. You can hypothetically choose Sira, you can choose Jamil, and then book through the Al Musafir backend ticket to go from Dubai, Medina, Jeddah, Dubai, and then book your own ticket on Air Canada from Montreal. Right. So we will discuss these routings, but there's no disadvantage whatsoever. The disadvantage is already there for every country with regards to the visa quota. It has nothing to do with the package. I don't know if that is that clear, Brother Azhar, or did I make it more confusing?
It is clear. So basically, the packages are available to you. All of this will be available to you when you see it for sale. You can choose anything you want. But what we're saying to you is that we have worked with Al Burj to provide a complete package, including the airline, with the gateway out of YYZ on Turkish Airlines. Now, if you want to go with something else, you can, and you can make your own airline arrangement. Now, that last tip that Brother Ahmed mentioned, and he's going to cover this in later detail, is that, okay, if Musafir is giving me very expensive ticket from Toronto or Montreal, what if I just go on my own to Dubai and just take Musafir from Dubai? Because eventually I'm going to get there on a specific date, and I can handle my mileage, ticket based on miles, whatever, to Dubai. You can have all those options when you're looking at buying your own ticket, but all of the packages will be available to all 126 countries, and anyone can book any of these packages.
And by the way, Dubai was just an example, Brother Azhar, so not everyone thinks
Could be
that they can
Cairo,
only
it
choose
could
from
be
Dubai.
Istanbul, it could be
Yeah.
anything. Yeah, it could be anything. Yes.
Yeah.
Since Musafir flights are through Mawasim, is it advantage to book a package through them as well? And would it be feasible to save favorites on custom flight plans to streamline the process when time comes to book? You know what? When you have the opportunity to configure, you'll figure it out as to what is better for you, because then you'll be given all the options. So I think you just, you're asking whether this will be feasible versus that. I would say that wait till the packages are out, and then you go and you have some days to play with it. Then you'll figure out which one is going to be easier for you to go through. Okay. What's the difference between Al Burj or Jamil or Sira package? I think it was very clear. I mean, in terms of hotels and in terms of, I think you'll find Jamil to be cheaper because they're using the hotels a little bit further away, like Crown Plaza and Anjum, for example. You might find that Al Burj is using the clock tower as such. Most of Sira, there might be comparable packages. Just take a look at it. But the campsite will be all the same. The shuyukhs are all the same. The services provided by them combined with what service we'll provide will be all the same. Where am I now? Okay, I'm listening. This is two. Okay. What is the minimal days for shifting packaging? But the minimal days is that you arrive on the 4th of Zulhijjah, which is the last day to enter the kingdom, and you leave on the 14th of Zulhijjah, which is 10 days, right? As soon as Hajj is over, as such. But you have to take a look at what package is available that actually provides that, and then make a decision based on that. Is there a way of extending the return by 2 to 3 days instead of current group return date? A couple of extra days in Medina and Mecca. it's not that easy to get a couple of extra days in Medina and Mecca, because you're also asking for, can I also have a hotel associated with that? So the hotels are sold in blocks. The reason why we have the 1 to 4 Hijjah and 4 to 14th, because they're sold in blocks. So you want to stay after Hajj beyond, you will take a package that is going to Medina afterwards, and then you can stay in Medina. And then perhaps there is this option in services. I have not seen it, but perhaps there'll be an option in services that allows you to do that. If it does, then you pay for the hotel and you buy the ticket through Musafir. If there is no option to get the hotel, then you won't be able to extend the stay by 2 or 3 days. Question, does the quad room have 4 separate beds? Always the quad room that we say, let's say you go into any hotel in North America here, or for that matter in Europe, how many beds will you find? 2. And if you have a family of 3 or 4, you ask the hotel to bring in extra beds, they will be temporary beds. So for the sake of argument, I would say to you, a quad room contains 2 normal beds and 2 temporary beds. That's the best way to look at it. We don't decide among the occupants who gets the temporary bed and who gets the regular bed. It is decided by the occupants themselves. So there are 4 separate beds, but 2 are regular beds, 2 are temporary beds. Is there a way to book a return flight that can make a stop in Dubai? You have to take a look at what is offered by Musafir, as opposed to the flights offered by the service providers going to Hajj and coming back. Regardless of the package, everyone in Mina will be in the same camps. Yes, everyone in Mina will be in the same camps, but the camps will be divided. It's a large camp. So we'll have the Al Burj executive in one part, signature one part, then you'll have the Sira in another part. So they will be divided, and they'll probably have separate catering. For example, they'll have separate bathrooms to use, but they will be in the same area in Majr al-Kabsh, inshallah. What medical services included with non-shifting and shifting luxury packages? Where would my luggage be held in shifting package? So first of all, when you say medical services, we are simply sending physicians to provide medical advice. If you're looking for medical services as in what an insurance would provide, then I would have you to go out and purchase a travel insurance. There is no medical services other than the local clinics that the Saudis have. If somebody gets sick, you go to the clinic and doctor will look at you and you'll probably give you some medicine. But if it's something that requires hospitalization and so forth, that's a separate entity altogether. What we're saying is that we'll have physicians with us to look at you and give you medical advice. Sometimes these physicians travel with us with suitcase full of medicines they carry with them from the United States. If they can't carry it this year, they probably will. It's too early for me to tell whether they can or cannot. But at least you'll have access to physician. If you're not well, they can take a look at you and they can tell you what you may or may not need per se. Other than that, there's no other medical services that are included, if I were to use word included per se. If you're concerned about your health and you get sick and get hospitalized, then you should consider getting yourself a travel insurance that covers your medical services. Now, non-shifting and shifting luxury packages, it's the same thing. As far as where your luggage will be held in the shifting package, you will be packed and the luggage will be picked up by our representative and put into a hold area and delivered to you in your next destination. So if you're in a shifting package and starting in Mecca as an example, now you're going to Mina, you've packed up your luggage, your next destination after Hajj is over is going to be in Medina, your luggage will be sent to your hotel in Medina. That's an example that I can use. Okay. I'm trying to see what question. There's too many, mashallah. What airlines are for the DFW airport gateway? Again, you can see that I shared with you the DFW as a gateway is used for all of the 3 service providers, but definitely, Turkish Airlines, as to what airline specifically, also depends on which service provider you're looking at, but that's a common one per se, thread as such. So wait till this thing all is firmed up. We are using Turkish Airlines and Qatar Airways. They are using Saudi Airlines in as well as Emirates, and it all depends on what package you're looking for and whether that package will be available with that airline by that service provider from that gateway. Family of 3 here. Plan to book package hotel with triple occupancy. Are we going to be in the same room? If you're a family with a mahram relationship in a triple occupancy, you will be in the same room. What are the parameters for booking using Al Musafir conditions and travel days series? Okay. What are the parameters for booking using Al Musafir? I think you have to go through Al Musafir to take a look at what are the offering and how you can choose and filter and then decide from there. I cannot tell from here what are the parameters. Can you please let me know what are the packages you have?
Brother Azhar, if I can interrupt here, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, go ahead.
So, because I know this is going to be a comment, and I'm seeing there's a lot of repetition and questions. So, Brother Azhar, feel free whenever you like to end the session if you see anything that's of
I
value
understand.
or remove it.
118, I know.
Yeah. So let me make this as I don't know, as a rule of thumb, and see if it makes sense. The parameters of the embedded API online travel booking system through Al Musafir is that there is a rule in the system. When you search, it will only allow you to enter into the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia in the dates that are specified in the package you've selected. Meaning, the rule is, a formula is, if this date is the start date, then do not show any trips or dates prior to this date. And then they will follow the rules of what is the last day to enter the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which is the 4th of Dhul Hijjah or the 5th midnight for all carriers, with exception of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia Airlines, Saudi Airlines and such. That might be a day or two later. And the parameters for the return are open until the 15th of Muharram. And yes, brothers and sisters, please do not panic on this or get anxious. It is open if you are booking an extra room or nights at the time. So let's say you want to extend an extra 2 or 3 days, you may be able to book through the Musafir platform a few days after the package, but then you will be required to show, before you get the visa, the accommodation for those nights. So please be very mindful, like Brother Azhar mentioned, those rooms can be extremely expensive at times, or you'll be forced to basically book any hotel because you decided to book a later flight. So the parameters are simple. They are within the scope of the program, but you can extend at the end, but you'll have to prove and document some accommodations after, but there can't be before the package you've selected dates. Is that more confusing, Brother Azhar, or less confusing?
No, it's understood that you're restricted by the package you select. That's
Thank
clear.
you.
Yeah, that's the part. I think the question was pertaining to the conditions and travel dates to and from KSA, and that is basically where this is going to tell you what is available based on that, and of course the rules about last flight and when it should land. So that's good. Yeah, there's far too many questions. I probably won't be answering all of the questions. The one that I would like to answer is, is it possible to have a package without hotel and without the organization? So an organized hotel and travel guide by ourselves. That is exactly why they have nusuk. They're basically taken away the liberty for anyone to travel on their own or for any travel agent to offer any packages. You want to go for Hajj, you have to go through nusuk. That's exactly what they're doing. So no, it's not possible to have a package on your own without hotel. Just get the visa and ticket and go on your own, figure it out. No, they're not allowing that at all. You have to go through nusuk. You have to pick a package, pick a service provider, and then make the payment to them, and they will make the arrangements to you. So that's the answer to that one. Okay. Can you please let me know what are the packages you have? Do you have Chicago as a gateway? We have Chicago as a gateway in multiple packages, and I think you have to take a look at what they are. And you can probably view the recording of this when I've gone through all the packages. If you choose Fairmont, which arrives in Medina on June the 10th, Fairmont is in Mecca, by the way. So let's just take your question as arriving in June the 10th in Medina, for example. When are you leaving from Chicago? Or if your arrival is on the 10th, depends on which airline you choose. You look at the airline that will arrive on the 10th. That's what you're looking for. You're probably leaving on the 9th. In certain cases where the airline leaves on the late in the evening, you might be leaving on the 8th in the evening, late in the evening, or in the 9th to be able to arrive on the 10th. You lose a day at least on the way there. You gain a day on the way back. Okay, I'm not going to answer all of the questions because some of them are not really related to the sales pitch as such, about seating in the aircraft and so forth. We're 4 families making Hajj together, inshallah. Can Dar Islam guarantee US men and women? Guarantee us men and women joins the 4 bedrooms, of course, in separate rooms. So you've got 4 families, and you want the 4 men in one room and 4 women in another room, and you're selecting the same package from the same service provider. Yes, we'll help you put the rooms to be together for the 4 men and for the 4 women, inshallah. I'm going to Umrah after Ramadan. Inshallah, if I can stay there, I can join from there. I don't think so. They require you to have a Hajj visa. You cannot overstay your Ramadan Umrah to do Hajj. They require you to have Hajj visa. If you do so, it will be considered illegal from their perspective. Okay. What do we have here? How will I know which languages the guides will speak? Well, definitely you'll find people speaking English. You'll have people who speak Urdu. You have people who speak Arabic. It all depends. But predominant language for Dar Islam has been English. And of course, you have the shuyukhs that can speak both English and Arabic. Can we also take a bus instead of the train from Medina to Mina? Can you configure a package now? I have more money in my wallet, but I'm not being able to figure yet. Brother Fahad, you can only configure once the packages are available. As mentioned by Brother Ahmad, they're going through some stress testing. Once they say the packages are available, you'll be given enough time, days literally, to go and look at the packages, configure which one you want, as an example, and then, of course, decide based on that. Now, can you take a bus instead of the train from Medina to Mina? Well, we don't go to Mina from Medina. We go from Medina to Mecca, for example. As such, the packages that we're offering, the plan is for people to take high-speed train to arrive from Medina station to Mecca station. I'm not so sure that if you take one of those packages, that you can alone opt out to take a bus. You probably have to take a package that has the bus-based travel. For a DS Executive A package, 10 days, is there going to be an option for Medina First package? So for the Medina First package, it will be the travel dates. I think I've already covered that. Excuse me. You have in the executive package, Medina First, it starts on the 4th of Hijjah, which is the 10th of June in Hilton as package A, and then it ends up in Fairmont on the 7th to the 14th. So that's the Medina package for you out of Al Burj. You can take either the A flavor or the B flavor. The only difference between the two are the hotels. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. We're interested in a non-shifting luxury package, inshallah. However, my husband may be interested in staying in Mina per the Sunnah. Is there a way to pay for separate access for Azizia just for Mina days? Thanks so much. So if you're taking a non-shifting package, you have your hotel room in Mecca, and your husband does not want to use it because he wants to spend the time based on the Sunnah in Mina, but perhaps he may want to go to Azizia, just maybe a day or so as such. I think it's possible, but we're not there yet to be able to tell you that be able to get you a room to go spend some time during the day and come back. But you don't have accommodation per se in Azizia because you already have a hotel room. But can I give you a room temporarily? Perhaps, but I'm not so sure at this time. What is the most comfortable Dar es Salaam package for someone who has difficulty walking? If price is not an issue, Executive A and the Signature A are both top class packages as such. The only difference is the excuse me. Only difference is the duration. So the Executive A is a 10th June to 20th June package, and the Signature A is the 7th June to 20th June package. So it's really the duration as such. So starting in Medina and then going to Mecca afterwards, you can choose either one of them. If duration is not an issue for you, if money is not an issue for you, they can certainly take a Signature A for you, and that will be a longer duration, and you also enjoy the time while you're there. Okay, Brother Ahmed, I think I would like to close this thing, if I can.
Please do. Again, there's going to be many sessions. This is, mashallah, the 6th session, informational session, and I think we had multiple Q&A sessions throughout the week. So we're here. Alhamdulillah. There's mashallah, a team of individuals, experienced individuals and staff that are in the background, in the back end, that's handling a lot of these, answering a lot of questions on the phone. So please just be patient, watch the videos. It's very important. Remain engaged in the platforms that we have, Telegram and so on and so forth. That is the best source of your information. So please watch them. There's a lot of repetition where we understand that some of us are anxious and nervous and may get confused at times. We're available to answer these questions as best as we can, but we do ask you just to invest some time in watching these videos. I believe most of your questions, if not all, are going to be answered in one way or the other. Jazakallah khair, Brother Azhar, if you want to end it with dua, and we can close, inshallah.
Yeah, so I just want to make sure, you will find when the packages are published, there's all kinds of packages. And you might say, what about this? What about that? You might come back to us about that package. We are not really looking at all of the packages. We have built Dar Islam services through years that had provided the best experience to the people that have gone with Hajj for Dar Islam. And we want to concentrate on those packages. So that's why we have come up with nothing in the backside, nothing in Muassim, because you'll find packages there. You may say, what about this? What about that? We won't be able to answer those questions. We're specifically concentrating on packages that gives you the best experience by putting the camp that is in front of the Jamarat, Majar al-Kabsh. 1. 2 of the 3 companies, I would say to you that in terms of grading, you have Al-Burj, number 1, you have Sira, number 2, and then you have Abdul Latif Jameel, number 3. Abdul Latif Jameel, there's a question somebody asked, is Anjem Hotel far away? You can see from the map that I shared with you that that particular service provider is offering something that is going to be at a bit of distance. So both the Crown Plaza in Medina is at some distance, and so is the Anjem Hotel. So it'd probably be more economical from that perspective, but we don't want to take away from the fact that the hotels may be at some distance, take away from the fact that the rest of the services that are provided, include the campsites, going to be different as such. That's why we're offering this as well. So you will see a lot of packages. You'll have an option to choose a lot of packages, but if you want to be able to be with Dar es Salaam, ground staff, scholars, and the services that we're normally used to providing, then you will concentrate on the packages that we shared with you, even though you have the option to go anywhere else. The most important part here is that if you intend to perform Hajj, then you should make that intention clear, and you should know exactly, which package you're going to go with. And you also know yourself in terms of your physical capabilities. We live in North America. We're not used to the amount of walking that's required. Even if I'm in Move-and-Pick in Medina, going to the Haram for 5 times prayer and coming back is a lot of walking that I don't do here. And keep in mind that it's going to be very, very hot during that time. So we've considered all of that in putting these packages together as such, because if you're not well and you're pushing yourself, then you're not concentrating on your ibadah. So we've considered all of that when we work with these service providers to give you the best possible outcome given the circumstances. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hopefully one day open up the quota, which is the actual restriction, to allow more people to go in. Unfortunately, I can tell you we have far more verified registration and nusuk then there are quotas. So there will be a big rush up front, and some people will get in, and I would say most people will not as such. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us and make it easy for you, and just make sure, remember him in your dua. It is he who decides who comes to his house, and hopefully, if there's anything else we can do to help, we'll be more than happy to. We continue to have the webinars. You'll continue to hear from us. But as we close the sales, our focus will be narrowly on these packages and not any other packages that you may have chosen when you go onto Nusuk when it comes to selection of packages and purchasing packages. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.